2, 1.
Hey, it's Jay Delay. Once again, I want to introduce one of the most incredible persons on health, living, saving one's life. He is a medical doctor, well trained in Western medicine. But we're going to talk to him today and find out what would make him learn how to help a human being live on a cellular level to save their lives. I give to you today as a gift. Please believe me, it's a gift. This is Dr. Akili Graham Muhammad. Thanks, Doc, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
He agreed to come from Houston, Texas, down here to Atlanta to check on his brother, to help me. And I'm forever indebted for that. So Doc, what you've seen thus far with me, give me a prognosis and let everybody know, where am I? Where am I in this battle? And be very open and blunt, because as you said before, we can save so many lives by the people watching this.
Yes, sir. Well, first I'd like to say how thankful I am to what you just described and how you introduced me, because I must first give credit to God, who I know is leading me in the direction that I'm going. I have been trained in allopathic, which will be considered Western medicine. And I know it's very difficult for any person who practices medicine, whether it be the doctor, a nurse, anybody that's in the typical medical industry. It's very difficult for them to understand some of the things that I'm about to say. And it was very difficult for me to make the transition into understanding and looking at a person from the perspective that I do now. But I'm so thankful, because it really was God's intervention that took me in this direction. First, I will say that when a person has a heart attack, when they get diagnosed with diabetes, high blood pressure, if a person has a stroke, if a person develops cancer, we must understand that that process started years before the actual episode or this particular thing happened to this person's life. So that time when you and I met in Houston, Texas, approximately maybe 2.5 months ago, what you were feeling were the warning signs that something was wrong. Things had been going wrong for years. To develop an abscess in the body is a sign of extremely inadequate immune system. Diabetes, of course, has a lot to do with that. Lifestyle, other things as far as toxicity, malnutrition, dehydration are the other aspects which lead to these problems. Of course, in the Western world, we always want to put a name to something. But in Eastern medicine, or the medicines that have been taught to the world by Imhotep and other black people from history, you look at the person as a whole. And a problem in a specific entity is a warning sign of a problem with the entire being. And as you and I have had discussions over the last few weeks and a few months, this is your warning sign. This was your wake-up call, if you must. And any person listening, any person that has the opportunity to hear this, I could care less what the diagnosis this person is dealing with, or care less what the diagnosis that the person has gotten from people. If they look at things from the same perspective that we talk about today, they can head in the right direction. They can head in the direction of solving the problem. Does that mean that every person that's listening can be cured of their problem? I don't know. Does that mean that every person that's listening can improve what it is that they're dealing with? Absolutely. So when you develop the flu, I tell people all the time, if you develop the flu or you develop a cold, that is your warning sign that your immune system is inadequate. I have been practicing medicine now for 17 years. And over those 17 years, I've gotten sick maybe 4 times. And each time that I got sick, it was because I started deviating from doing my normal practice, my exercise routine, my stress reducers, and eating the right type of foods. And when I was exposed to a person that had something that I could catch, I knew what was going to happen before I developed the symptoms. So that's the key to any person that wants to improve their health, is first you have to have an open mind and an open heart. Because some of the things that I'm going to say are going to challenge what people have been thinking all of their lives. Because this information challenged what I have been thinking all of my life. It challenged everything that I learned in medical school. And that's the key, is that knowledge is power once you activate that knowledge. And so hopefully we can get to the as you said, you introduced it as a cellular. It is a cellular level that we have to change. That doesn't make sense to a lot of people. And I'm not going to try to make scientific sense, but if they listen to what we say and they start applying what we're discussing, that's what they will be doing, is solving their problems at a cellular level. And when you get down to changing your body at a cellular level, there is nothing that can go wrong in the human body.
So, in hearing what you're saying, Doc, getting back to where I am, flu, 2 huge abscess, 4 surgeries, now I'm dealing with this massive hole. Well, you saw it, Doc. You explain and spare no expense in telling them where I am.
Okay, well, you know, the only way that I can really explain to people what Brother Jay's wound looks like is I would have to go to one of these gory movies where you see people get shot. Of course, the movies is always unrealistic, but let's just use the most common one, I'm sure that's in black people's minds, is Django, where this man is shooting people, and as they are blown back by these gunshot wounds, there you see them on the ground, they got these big holes in their body. That literally is what Brother Jay has at the lower end of his back, at the top of the crack in between his butt cheeks. There's a hole that literally is that big. So when he said it was 4 inches wide, it's probably about 4 or 5 inches deep, and it's about 7 or 8 inches long. We're literally talking a hole in the lower part of his back. Now, let's just look at what and how the body would allow something like this to happen. It would be similar to us saying that we have an alarm system or something of that nature.
Start over. It would be the same.
It would be similar to discussing an alarm system or a security system that we would have at home or we have in a public building, and that security system is breached. You know, you have an alarm system, somebody busts down your front door and there is no noise that comes from your alarm system. Or if you're in your back sleep, you have guards at your door. So if somebody does bust down the door, then they're guards, that's your second line of defense. And they're not there. And this person is able to get all the way back to where you are resting or whether you're sleeping. That literally is what has happened to your body. The skin is the barrier. That's the first line of defense for anything causing a problem in the human body. After that, there is the immune system, which is a collection of millions and billions of cells that's job is to make sure that anything that doesn't belong in his body stays out. So in order for a bacteria to have gotten into your body and down into your skin and develop an abscess just means it's a collection of pus underneath the skin. And if there's a collection of pus underneath the skin, your immune system is still doing a job, but it just allowed something to penetrate the first lines of defense. So this pus is a bacteria that's growing, trying to kill you, right? And it's also your body attacking it. And and there, like any war, there are collateral damage. So your body is sending cells to fight this infection, and the infection is trying to kill you, and an abscess is the result which is what? Bacteria cells, your dead cells, and the body trying to keep it in this one area and trying to keep it from spreading all the way up to your brain, all to your organs. So you still had some immune system working, but it's showing that there are some problems with it keeping all those foreign things at bay. And let me just add this. Surgery is not always a bad thing, especially when we're talking about abscesses. But what surgery does is puts another threat and another stress on the body. Anything that causes the body disease or dis-ease is a stress. And so, as you mentioned earlier about having a skin graft or a skin flap, which is what the doctors were considering, it would have been like, we discussed earlier, if I was to put an 80-pound bag of beans on my back and I just start walking around and doing regular things around the house, it's going to be a lot more difficult with that bag of beans. And that's what it would have been like for you to have another surgery on top of what you were already dealing with. It would be like, I'm already walking around with an 80-pound bag of beans, and you come and say, well, look, I need you to carry this 50-pound bag of beans on top of that 80. It would have been too much for your body. It would have been very, very difficult for you to make a complete comeback because of Western medicine ideas, which we have witnessed through this whole home health aspect and everything. But not only is nutrition in hospitals horrible, but the reality of getting rest is not even an aspect of thought in the hospital. While they're checking your vital signs, they're coming in, giving you medicine at all these different times of the day, and it's not based on whether you're resting, whether you're asleep, or anything like that. It's all based on their schedule. So medicine is an industry. It's about money, and the person is the commodity. We don't value and honor the patient like Emotep taught us. We honor the money, we honor the dollar bill, and the person is the commodity by which I make my money.
Incredible. There's a lot that you can learn. Dr. Akili Graham Muhammad just gave you a little insight of where I am. We're going to go a little further into what I'm going to do in the future, how I'm going to save my life, because I'm those that know me and those that I have yet to meet know I'm a fighter. I'd be damned if I quit. I'm a soldier, and I'm going to keep fighting. In this next part, we're going to go deeper and find out, how do I fight? Because that's the whole part of it. From the addiction to the medicine and having to overcome that, to going through my refrigerator and having to throw everything that I thought was healthy away, to going to Whole Foods and looking and finding the organic things that are going to help me save my life, how to eat them, when to eat them, and how to work this machine called the body. Because I promise you, what you think you know about this machine, you're probably so far off as I was. So coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Just stick around. Jay Delay, Dr. Akili Graham Muhammad.